We are here, February 2nd. Tens of mothers left their house, left their daily routine, left the children to come and sit at a vigil next to the Prime Minister's residence here in Jerusalem with a very simple message. Prime Minister Netanyahu, there is a plan that one can implement, and that is the application of Israeli sovereignty over Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. For 2,000 years, we have been praying to go back to Eretz Israel. We have been yearning. We have been doing everything to come back to our land. And thank God, we created the State of Israel. We returned home. The sons came back home. And after 67, we liberated our God-given biblical heartland, Hebron, Jerusalem, Shiloh, Beit El, Shechem, the Golan Heights, Gaza. Can we even think about a situation that 64 years later, after the creation of the State of Israel, we willingly, again, would be giving up on our heartland? How can somebody give up on his heart? The body doesn't function without a heart. We oppose the giving away of any piece of land, not because of security reasons, but because this land is ours, and the people doesn't abandon its homeland. The Zionist dream, the dream of the return to Eretz Israel, is not only to build communities here and to live here, it is to live here as a sovereign people in its homeland. Sovereignty is what shows that this is ours. And that is what we came to say here. Yes, the mothers say yes to Israeli sovereignty over Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. We invite you who live in Israel to come and show support every day this week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And to our friends abroad, we call upon you. Go with a camera, with a few friends or even alone, to the Israeli consulate as near your house, and film yourself in front of the Israeli consulate and say that you support the call for Israeli sovereignty. We will every day put up these little movies of the different people who talk and call for sovereignty, and we will spread it as far and wide so that once and for all, nobody will tell us you don't have an alternative. Once and for all, we will say the creation of a Palestinian state is suicide. The only solution is Israeli sovereignty over Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. Join us.
Our mission here is to push him back to the old position, to create a counter pressure against the pressure of the Americans and the European, and to tell him you will not have a government if you will surrender to the American demands. So decide what you prefer, to go down to history as the one who gave up the land of Israel to its enemies and betrayed his own declaration and lost his government due to such foolishness, or to remain faithful to your father ideology, to your old ideology, and to the land of Israel.
My name is Gemma. I've lived in Jerusalem for over 25 years, and I've come here to protest today the sort of crazy plans that are going on to give away the heartland of Israel, which is Judea and Samaria. We've already given away Gaza with catastrophic and terrible results for the country, for the Jews who were evicted, and of course even for the Arabs who live down there now in absolutely terrible conditions. And now there are terrible ideas to divide the country. We're talking about the heartland of biblical Israel. The idea of dividing the land and making peace with those who are totally committed to the destruction of the land, to the destruction of the Jews and everybody there. They very clearly have a scorched earth policy, and the idea that the world, John Kerry and all his officials in America, but just as much in Europe, think that they can make a false peace. It sounds like the days of Chamberlain and the days of the Munich Agreement, when Chamberlain came back from Hitler waving a piece of paper saying peace in our time. It's not peace in our time, it's the destruction of Israel.
My name is Rabbi Avi Baumol. I'm a rabbi in Krakow, Poland, and I was just with the Israeli contingent in Auschwitz-Birkenau last week. and we learned about the sad history and the tragic history of the Jew who wanders around and has no place to call home. So I come here to Nadia and to support and to stand with my friends and my people to say that the Jewish people in the land of Israel deserve to live everywhere in the land of Israel, and we hope that Mr. Netanyahu will give us that right to do so.
My name is Valerie Pessin. I'm from Efrat. This is my daughter Yael, and we're here to support the women in green and to turn to our leaders and tell them there's an alternative to the two-state solution. We don't have to be bullied into accepting something that America thinks is in our best interests, but it's really not in our best interests. We have to do what's right for us, and there is an alternative, and open your minds to something different, to something that can work for everybody.
My name is Steve Goldberg. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm the National Vice Chairman of the ZOA, the Zionist Organization of America. I'm here to show my support for sovereignty of all of Eretz Yisrael, including Judea and Samaria. I believe the people here, the women in green, are doing fantastic work, and I believe it is not the right of any prime minister or any government to trade away the cradle of Jewish civilization, to give away Israeli land, to create a terrorist state out of the heartland of the land of Israel. I would urge Prime Minister Netanyahu and the entire Israeli government to resist the pressures from President Obama and Secretary of State to not agree to the framework and to terminate all negotiations. It's time to exercise sovereignty over all of the land of Israel, and that's why I'm here from the United States to support this.
My name is Ruth Cohen. I live in Jerusalem. Israel belongs to us, to the Jews, and we are staying here forever.
Shalom, my name is Colin Wesley. I was the former Executive Director of Likud Cherut Great Britain. I'm here because I believe that the Eretz Yisrael belongs to Am Yisrael. If we carry on the way we're doing with the Prime Minister Netanyahu, who lives around the corner, it's a matter of self-destruction. We have lost all our self-pride, our dignity, and above all, the world is looking down upon us just like it did in the 1930s. We have to stand firm, and we have to stand for what we believe.
My name is Robin Ticker. I live now in Brooklyn, New York, but I'm very connected to Israel as I lived in Kiryat Arba in the past. The message that I wanted to tell the Knesset members, Aryeh Eldad just spoke very eloquently, and he said this is our homeland. I want to call upon all the Knesset members who believe in God, who believe in the Torah, to make a statement that this is our land because this is the covenant that God gave to the Jewish people. The fact that we don't have sovereignty over Eretz Yisrael is not only bad for Jews, but it's bad for all the Arabs and the entire world. As we see, when the Mishkan was in the hands of the Arabs, it was a curse on them. When it's in the hands of Jews, when Israel and Judea and Samaria is in the hands of the Jewish people, then the entire world is blessed. And we see today that Israel is a blessing when they, with the technological advances and with their medical advances, and in every area, the world is blessed through Israel. By keeping Israel sovereign, the entire world is blessed. By giving the land away, we are actually hurting the rest of the world as well.
I'm Ted Bellman. IsraelPundit.com is my blog, and I spend a great deal of time on these issues. At the moment, everybody's talking about economic sanctions and our isolation. And the only reason we're subject to the threat of sanctions and all the isolation is because America has decided to stand with the Arabs, thereby isolating us in our position. And if Netanyahu keeps talking about he won't let us be unsecure, he's going to protect our security, and he never defends our legal right to the land. And so he ends up, we're not getting any land, and we're not getting any security. And the Israeli government must be the defender of our rights.
My name is Robin Katz, and I'm originally from Chicago, and I've been living in Israel for the past 6.5 years. And I came here today because I'm really shocked at some of the things I've read in the newspaper and the issues that are being talked about today. I think Americans largely misunderstand and are not informed about what is happening here. For example, I went into territories that were given to the Palestinians, territories A and B recently, and I'm shocked to see, actually I didn't go in, I went to them, because there's a big red and white sign that said Israelis are not allowed to go in. You know, the concept of a uterine state is something that, shocked us when the Nuremberg laws were passed, and we saw what happened and what resulted from that. And here we are again, allowing people to say, Jews, Israelis, can't enter. What is that about? To go to Joseph's tomb, to go to the Temple Mount. These are sacred places to Jews. And I wonder why we can't enter and why our rights are not respected.
My name is Jeremy Derry. I was born in America, lived in France, and now I'm here for 4 years. I live here in Jerusalem. I'm here, among my fellow supporters are here, to show to the world that the land of Israel, including Judea and Samaria and the Jordan Valley, which are being discussed now in the Kerry peace process, belongs to the Jewish people, which is part of the land of Israel. We're here to show that it's not just a security issue, but this is a biblical, a historical, a legal, and a national issue that the entire land, from the West Bank to the Mediterranean Sea, belongs to the Jewish people. We have been here since biblical times. There's proof that we are here throughout the centuries. There's even archaeological proof that the Jews have always been in the land of Israel. So this is our land, and we are here to stay forever.
My name is Barbara Ginsburg. I'm from Ma'ale Adumim, which is right outside of Jerusalem. Now, I came out today because I want sovereignty over all our land. It is all ours. It is not a piece of real estate to be given or sold to the highest bidder or to the worst enemy or to the best friend. I want the world to know sovereignty over all the land.
My name is Jeff Dowby. I'm the director of the Israel office for the Zionist Organization of America. And I'm here, standing here with the Women in Green, standing in support of the Women in Green as we lobby the Prime Minister here, right next to his home, right now for sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. It is extremely important to make this statement. I am right now involved in a campaign to push the levy report and our legal grounds in Judea and Samaria.
My name is Zahava Englard. I live in Efrat, which is situated in the lovely Judean hills. And I'm here to stand in solidarity and say yes to Israel's sovereignty and no to a Palestinian state. I would like to know actually what country on this earth would say yes to establishing a terrorist state on their territory. And it's about time that we in Israel, the leadership in Israel, annex our biblical land, our heartland of Judea and Samaria, and finally live as one sovereign nation in our entire land.
My name is Rob Hyman. I'm an Oleg Hadash. I wanted to come today to show my support for Women in Green, for sovereignty over Judea and Samaria in the Jordan Valley. This is the land that Hashem gave to the Jewish people, and I believe for the security and the future of the Jewish people is absolutely important and imperative that we come and show our support for sovereignty.